In this episode of the Mayor's Corner, we are joined by our new city manager, Kim Flom. Welcome.
Welcome.
So you are a new city manager, and you're just on the job for the last couple of weeks. However, you are not new to the city of De Pere. As a matter of fact, we had a big outreach. We had multiple interviews, lots of people interviewed for this job. It was in great desire, and it turns out that you were kind of homegrown. You know this organization quite well. So how about a little background on yourself and how we got you back to this organization?
Yes, I'm officially a boomerang. I'm a boomerang employee for the city of De Pere. In fact, I served as the Development Services Director for about 5 years up until 2019. Loved working for the city, loved all the things that were happening here. But my family and I had an opportunity to relocate to McKinney, Texas, try something new, try the world of city administration in a really big, fast-growing city in a new part of the country. It was something we couldn't pass up at the time. It was wonderful to us.
So you left about what year?
2020.
2020.
Talk about a great time,
Sure.
not a great time,
No.
right? So I would never recommend moving literally in the middle of a global pandemic. I moved in January, the family followed in April, right in the middle of everything. But what a crazy learning opportunity to be in local government during that time. I think all of us were a little battle worn, but also learned so much about resiliency and adaptability.
Sure.
So I was in McKinney for about 5 years, and when this opportunity presented itself, first of all, I always said if I ever came back to Wisconsin, it would probably be for De Pere. We really loved it here, and it wasn't that we wanted to leave. But at the same time, we were in Texas, we had kids, we weren't sure if it was the time. A lot of great family conversations. The more I learned about the opportunity through the process, it became the right fit for us, and we're so happy to be back.
And we're happy you are back. So De Pere has had, now it's changed over time, but we've had 3 city administrators / managers. So I think the first one was Jerry Smits in the late 1970s, early 1980s. Before that, because of the size of the city of De Pere, they operated, under a different type of government type structure. Larry Delo, longtime city administrator / city manager, then you enter. So obviously you're familiar with what the job title entails. So can you give us kind of maybe just a day-to-day run on what you do as our city manager?
Absolutely, and happy to. So my kids ask me all the time, what do you do all day? And my quick answer is I sit in a lot of meetings. And it's a horrible answer because the work of city management and city administration is actually very, very cool. It just doesn't seem cool on the surface. So I'm essentially in charge of the day-to-day operations of the city, and a city is all these different businesses, right? We provide emergency medical response. We also make sure your toilet's flush. We make sure your garbage is picked up. We make sure that your streets are plowed. We provide the great park and recreational opportunities via programming in our spaces. And then within that, our HR team, our IT team, they are internally making sure that we operate as an organization. It is a job where usually there's not a lot of public accolades for local government employees, but I can tell you that the team in De Pere, and honestly every city I've worked in, these are people who love their city and they love serving the residents of their city, and it's so fulfilling to be part of this space where you are part of this community and building community.
So obviously you oversee many city departments within this organization, and with that you kind of wear multiple hats, and as you just stated, we have a lot of very talented people working with this organization. Now as you move forward here, another big responsibility would be the budget and putting the budget together, which we do once a year. So that's kind of exciting and carries a lot of responsibility. What do you think about that going forward? This will be your first city budget.
First city budget here. I've been
Yes,
involved with city
with the
budgets
city of
in the
De Pere,
past.
yep.
Again, we're stewards of our community and the taxpayer, so it's critical that the budget is done well. And one of the things that De Pere does that I love is they actually have a pretty robust budget process. So it is all of the departments are involved in building the budget. Our spectacular finance team is making sure that we know what our limits are. There are a lot of state rules around how we spend our money, and we have to make sure we know that. So we put those numbers together, we make recommendations as related to what we think we can do. We review that with you in detail. We review that with the council in a work session, and it goes through a process by which it is ultimately approved. And that really sets the playbook for us of how we spend our money. We also, on our website, we have transparency on that financial side of how we're spending our money. So any resident can go there and make sure that we're doing our job correctly. Transparency is so important in everything that we do on the local government level. It's how hopefully we build trust with our community. We want to make sure they trust us with the taxpayer dollars they're giving us.
Very good, and we've had multiple surveys in the past. You might have been part of one of them when you worked here, but the surveys also help guide us moving forward, and you during the budget process and the department heads, because we ask residents, what they like, what they don't like, what they want to see done differently, and just so the residents know, we do take that seriously when forming these budgets.
Absolutely. The council plays a critical role in the budget process. An analogy I like to think about is a bicycle, right? The council, you are there, you are giving the big picture vision, you're telling the priorities for the upcoming year and for the community. You're telling us the way you want us to steer the bike, and we're going to pedal that bike to get there. And the pedaling is the nuts and bolts of the numbers in the budget that hopefully get us to where the council wants us to be.
And then we mentioned council, we can see just behind us the dais right here, where ultimately the final decisions get made. So we're approaching this upcoming year. De Pere has a lot of challenges moving forward and a lot of opportunity. So what do you see moving forward in the next year, 5 years for De Pere that's exciting or on the horizon?
There are a lot of exciting things on the horizon. And it ranges from the built stuff. Infrastructure comes immediately to mind with the Southern Bridge Connector and the Main Street Reconstruct. These are two major infrastructure projects. One is an historic area that's direly needed to make sure that we're maintaining that quality of life downtown. The other one is a brand new connection that's going to unlock growth opportunities in areas we haven't seen before. Infrastructure is huge. Also, really just community building. Part of what we need to continue to do, and this isn't De Pere specific, this is everywhere specific, building community, connections with our community. We do a lot of stuff in local government, but we don't do it all. We need our schools, we need our faith-based organizations, we need all these community organizations. We all pull together to create a great city, and building those relationships across the aisle is really important and a big part of what I think we need to do on that end. As a city that has grown, continues to grow, housing is becoming a challenge. Housing prices everywhere are becoming a challenge.
Yes, it is.
But De Pere, the market is very limited, and we are looking very strategically at things we can do to make sure we have, I've heard it called life cycle housing, meaning we have a little bit of everything for everyone so that you have choices here and you can live in De Pere from right out of college all the way up through retirement and beyond if you want to.
That's a good way of putting it. So obviously you're excited about moving forward, and we can sense the passion you have for your job. The city of De Pere, I think, does a good job of advertising itself, making itself available on social media, and getting our messaging out there. But this is just another way we can do that so people can see you, our new city manager, as we move forward. So we wish you the best of luck, and we mean that very seriously, for the next 5, 10, 20 years. So please accept my congratulations on the job. You're pretty new, and best of luck moving forward. And thank you for joining myself and the rest of the residents on the Mayor's Corner.
Well, thank you. I feel just completely honored to be here. I can't wait to dive into all the things and continue the great work you're doing to make De Pere a great place to be.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.